Hey, party people! Well, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer, and this week on the show, I am joined by Beaz for a game of Haunted West. Haunted West is a Weird West tabletop role-playing game set after the American Civil War. It is a game about hope through struggle. It is a game that amplifies the voices of the often overlooked people of the Old West, the people who have been whitewashed by history. And it is a game about investigating weird, terrifying things in the American Old West, all of which is to say it is unbelievably cool as hell. The game is written by Chris Spivey, who you might recognize from Harlem Unbound, which is another absolutely amazing historical horror game. And the book itself is God, it's fucking amazing. It's the coolest thing. It is full of tables and alternate histories and texts and some of some amazing in-depth character creation that Beaz kind of goes into in the episode. It's so freaking cool and I want you to check it out. Anyway, you can learn more about Haunted West at darkerhuestudios.com, or you can check the show notes for more information. Beaz is a tabletop RPG performer. You know his work from Iron Edda Reforged The Bubble, from Campaign Skyjacks, from a bunch of other streams and podcasts. He is also a voice actor and genuinely, truly one of the kindest, most enthusiastic and positive people I have the pleasure of working with on a given day. I am genuinely just a huge fan of his. I'm happy that we're friends. I'm happy we get to work together, and I'm so happy to have him on the show. You can find Beaz on Twitch at twitch.tv/big_Beaz, that's Beaz, or you can find him everywhere else at biggest_Beaz on social media. But first, an ad. I want to talk to you about Till the Last Gasp, a two-player dramatic story game of duels by Darrington Press. Spanning genres and settings, Till the Last Gasp throws you straight into two-player PvP action. Blows are exchanged, emotions betrayed, secrets revealed, and stakes raised until one player is left standing. I got sent a copy of this game by Darrington Press, and y'all, this game shreds. Visually, it's got this board game aesthetic that is cool and rich and tactile, and the actual game itself, designed by Will Hindmarch and Alex Roberts, who you know from probably my favorite episode of Party of One when we played Starcrossed, is this really cool combination of blow-by-blow tactical gaming mixed with these big story gamey style questions that really get at the emotional heart of the battle. It's doing a lot of cool things, and I'm really excited that it exists. Anyway, you can learn more about Till the Last Gasp, a two-player dramatic storytelling game of duels, and pick up your own copy at darringtonpress.com. But first, an ad, because they pay the bills. This probably won't surprise you, because this is a podcast about playing role-playing games, which is largely based on reading books. But I like to read books. You've probably seen Shadow and Bone on Netflix. Season 2 is streaming now, and these are the novels that inspired that series. The Grishaverse novels are set in a lavish fantasy world in which magic and science collide, first established in the Shadow and Bone trilogy and further expanded in the Six of Crows duology. If you've seen the Netflix series Shadow and Bone, you like those sort of dangerous outcast characters, Six of Crows is directly up your alley, but there are also a lot of other books in the Grishaverse, and this is perfect for fans of Game of Thrones, The Witcher, Wheel of Time, or, say, Dungeons & Dragons and Blades in the Dark and related role-playing games. Wink, wink. Listen, if you're listening to this show, I'm willing to bet that, a particular vein of, urban crime, fantasy, magic, science colliding type stuff is maybe up your alley, so I'm willing to bet that you would enjoy Six of Crows if you read it. NPR called it a world that's real enough to have its own passport stamp, and that is the kind of immaculate, elaborate world building that I always am excited to see. To learn more, go to Grishaverse.com, that's GRISHAVERSE.com, or get your copy wherever books are sold. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am so beyond excited today. I am sitting down with Beaz. Beaz, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Oh, my pleasure.
I am so excited to have you on the show. I have been hoping and looking forward to this episode for a very long time, and I'm glad that we are finally sitting down and playing a game together. It has been a long time coming, and I'm excited to be playing this game today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm pumped. You guys can't see me right now, but I'm just flailing in my chair.
I think that makes two of us, frankly,
yes.
So I feel pretty good about it. So, real quick, before we dive in, why don't you take a moment and let our lovely listeners at home know about anything you've got going on that you might want them to know about?
Well, hello, all you fantastic, wonderful listeners. I am Big Beaz, your happy, helpful harbinger of hype. I am right now kind of taking a hiatus from the content creation world because I had to, because the hurricane had to get a job and I'm working my butt cheeks off. But certain fantastic people that I made plans with before, like Jeff, I'm still doing this stuff. But yeah, to catch me, you can catch me on Twitch at big_Beaz, Beaz. Anywhere else on the internet at biggest_Beaz, Beaz. Also, you can catch me. I've done quite a bit of guest work. You can catch me on Campaign Skyjacks and their latest arc that they just finished. I was playing one of the characters' dads, and it was a phenomenal experience. Also, catch me on the last arc that just ended for the Roaring Trainers, Kanto and the Jazz Age. I played a lovable scamp who brought all sorts of tears and feels to not only the people listening, but to myself as well. Let's see, what else? I've got other stuff in the works that hopefully will be coming out soon.
I've got one thing I want to shout out as a thing that I watched you on from beginning to end and loved with all of my heart.
Yes. I was going to get to that. The first thing I was going to say is, if you want to go back through the One Shot podcast recordings and, see me on my first debut, which is The Price of Coal. God, such a good game. Oh,
that game is amazing. One of my favorite games in the world, genuinely and truly.
I want to play something. I want another good dramatic game like that, which, might be happening tonight. Also, what Jeff was going to say is, catch me on the other Tracy's YouTube channel, or I think it's on the One Shot Network YouTube channel as well. But the Iron Edda Reforged, The Bubble. Oh, it was so
The Bubble was
much
awesome.
fun.
Like, I mean, I'm deeply attached to the Iron Edda Reforged everything because we did puppet strings, and it remains one of the most perfect and beautiful like experiences I've ever had in podcasting and games. And then like the second that we finished it, like the following week, the bubble started up, and I just got to sit down and watch like another group of players like go through the same experience and discover the world and make characters, and like watch you and B and everyone, like you and B and Danny, like make characters and explore this world. It was just like, it was astounding. It was beautiful. So and it's one of my favorite things.
I love the way it handled boss fights, how it handled just like describing new areas, it's so cool. How it described, like how it handled creating characters on the fly. It was, and I had just finished listening to Puppet Strings, so I was hyped. I was like, yeah, I gotta bring it. I gotta bring that energy. And one of my favorite things in the world is that kind of feedback loop of getting excited about a thing and then going, well, now I gotta match that energy and bring that energy myself. And I can say confidently, having watched all of The Bubble, you did it. You accomplished mission accomplished. Well, thank you.
And speaking of games, and speaking of exciting games, speaking of games that I've been wanting to play on this show for a very, very long time, I could not be more excited. This is a game that I have been eagerly awaiting since they announced the Kickstarter for it, and I've been so excited to finally get to sit down and play it. We are playing Haunted West, which is a Weird West role-playing game. It is by Darker Hue Studios, who made Harlem Unbound, which is another amazing book. This game rules and is amazing. It is a game about stories of historically marginalized people on the open West, exploring, fighting against things of horror, fighting against monsters and aliens and all of that kind of good, weird Western nightmare fuel. And those are all things that I love, and they're all story spaces that I love to play in, and I am excited to tell this story today.
I am excited. Sorry, I had to mute myself because I just started like flailing and squealing and then didn't want to interrupt. But yeah, I am just a tad bit excited to get down on the goodness with this.
You came to me because I asked if you wanted to do the show, and you were like, I want to play a Weird West game, and I was like, I have this one in my back pocket, and I have this one in my back pocket for like a person that I want to play a game with that I know will bring an energy, and so like this is the day that we break this out, and I'm thrilled.
See, Jeff undercut what really happened. He asked me, hey, do you want to play a game? And in my brain, I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, I can play. No problem. But what came out was just high-pitched, excited noises and squealing. And then like 50 yeses. So, yeah,
That's fair. You know what? I did underplay that, and I did appreciate, but I can't tell you what it meant to get that excited squeal of a message with the 50 S's. It meant a lot to me. So you have made up a character.
Yes.
So why don't you take a moment and introduce your character? Tell us who you're going to be playing this week.
All right. The character I am playing today is Silas the Hallowed Whitfield.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's a good name. That's a good name.
Love it. So yes, he is a gentleman of the age of 32, a middle-aged black man. He is, God, what is it called again? Disenfranchised, and grew up with a big family. How far are we getting into the nitty-gritty of the backstory?
Get it. Spin us the tale of Silas the Hallowed Whitfield.
Yes. Well, he was the middle child of 8. Grew up enslaved for a short period of time before his entire family was freed, but still dealt with a lot of issues from freshly freed people that were enslaved during that time. He was raised by both his parents, luckily, extremely lucky, especially in that time, to have had both parents together the whole time and not been separated. Lived a pretty normal life. Nothing really out of the ordinary. His father was a blacksmith and his mother was a seamstress. And then they, kept getting a lot of crap for everything that was happening, the change of time, everyone starting to look at each other as equals. There were a lot of people that were completely against that. So they started getting a lot of flack in their neighborhood and decided to move. Everyone felt it was going to be a fantastic choice. Well, they moved, and in this new area, they started making friends, and his parents were introduced to a new religion. And at first it was like, oh, just, come hang out with us here, hang out with us there. And it just so happened to have some stuff, people were talking about the new religion. They were going over some things and just kind of like dipping a toe into the water. But as I think it was about 3-4 years until they actually started practicing. And the kids were a little confused at first because all they'd known is Christianity up until that point. And, the parents got more and more into it. And the more they got into it, the further they pulled away from their kids. So it started to become a problem, and everybody started to, the kids banded together to take care of one another because they had no one else to do so. Then one night, the parents came home and said that they're going to do something special, have a special night, a good family night. And once the kids washed up, got ready, put on their Sunday best, and came out to a chalk-drawn circle with a bunch of symbols in the middle of the ground, and their parents in black robes. They said that they were going to bless them before they could start the festivities of the night. And most of the kids, everyone except for Silas, was confused, but going along with it. Pretty much what happened next was a lot of like speaking in tongues, a lot of, mumbo jumbo that you didn't think, that everybody else other than the parents assumed was just some weird ritual thing they picked up from their friends and was just awaiting for it to end so they could, get to this fun activity their parents planned for them. Suddenly, like, the candles went out, everything went to hell. Silas barely managed to escape. He got injured pretty badly. And when the dust cleared and everything was done, it was just a massacre. There was just, I don't want to get too much into it, but like viscera everywhere and stuff like that. His parents finally, because it was like a tiered system, and they finally hit that top tier, which was you had to sacrifice something very important to you to achieve like that next level. So they did that, but were killed in the process as far as Silas knows. As far as he knows, his entire family died that night. So he ran off and tried to survive best he could as a young teenage boy on his own. And fell in with the wrong crowd, got into some scrapes, got into some trouble, and ended up in, like a forced servitude. Now with that, it was really just, it started out like, what I'm trying to think of the proper word. Like I don't want to say a bag boy, but like he got involved with like a crime family, and he was the one like delivering stuff back and forth.
Like a courier,
a courier. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So he was the courier. He learned quite a bit from that. And eventually, some stuff went down. He stepped up and was able to bargain his freedom from the gentleman that was holding him pretty much captive. So after that, he got a bunch of odd jobs here and there, and just became really a jack of all trades. Anything that needed to be done, he was able to at least do it to some degree of proficiency. Now, as that went on, he started to build a life for himself. He was able to take care of himself. He was a young man, probably in his 20s. I want to say 23. And suddenly he was he was out shopping for groceries and saw this young woman who looked very familiar to him.
Oh my God.
And, he thought it was just deja vu. He thought, he thought it was just a trick. So he looked back, and sure enough, she was staring dead in his eyes, and she started to like walk away. So he was like, that looks like my sister. How is that possible? So he followed her, and she led him down a bunch of alleys and behind buildings until finally to a dead end. And he saw all of his siblings, not his parents, but just his siblings. He was overjoyed, excited, like started to cry, missed them so much. And that whole feeling lasted a good 30 seconds because they started to berate him about how he let them die and left them to die and didn't do anything to help them. And after they did that for a little bit and he was arguing back and forth, they started laughing in unison and then started to transform. He saw 7 demons standing in front of him, and they beckoned him to join them so that they could bring about the end of days. Silas being Silas was like, no, I don't want to do this. Hell no.
It was like, you know what? I've been through some shit, and this isn't how it ends.
Yeah, exactly. So he managed to, break his way out, like get away from them. They let him go, but in his mind, he managed to escape. And for the next 2 years was hunted relentlessly by them. Everywhere he went, one of them would show up or 2, and they would just toy with him. They were just doing all they could to torture him and make him go insane so that he would join them. He came across a church, and in that church, he managed to find like a little bit of sanctuary. He actually had a couple nights sleep without, freaking out or being tortured or anything like that. And he started to, from there, he would, in the daytime, go out and do any kind of research he can at the local, library. And, he finally found an occult store. And when he went in there, he found these old books, and they spoke of demons that looked a lot like the ones that cornered him that day. And so he started to obsessively research about that. And as he did, he found out that certain runes and certain symbols would react to them, not only as like hey, this is a demon, but there were some that would cause them pain. So at that moment, he decided not only did he want to stop the end of days, kind of wanted to keep the world from ending, but he felt it was his duty to finally put his family to rest. So he started studying the runes until he could memorize them and write them with his eyes closed. And he took some weapons. He had a machete that he carved, that carved isn't the right word, but kind of chiseled. There we go. Chiseled certain runes in to make it a blessed weapon. And he has a pistol that he's blessed, enchanted, put runes on that does damage to these demons. And then after that day, once he finally finished like his tutelage and learning everything he needed to get started hunting them, he went from then on and just went out on his own, this time instead of running from them, aggressively hunting them. And it's been about a good 5 years, and he's cornered them plenty of times. They've managed to escape. At this point, they know he can hurt them because he's got them very close to death. And now it's just a game of cat and mouse where he's no longer the mouse, he is now the cat. And he is hunting them down. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to involve from my backstory and everything I rolled. Yeah, no, that's about it.
So we're done? We're good? That's it? That's the episode? That's... Fuck. God damn.
So that is the good old tale of young Silas. So yeah,
that kicks ass. That rules. I'm thrilled. That kicked ass. So we have one character roll we wanted to make on Mike.
Yes.
Of this character, we want to roll the weird. We want to know what's going on with the weird.
Also, if you're listening and you're like, okay, there's a lot going on here, this whole book of this game is massive. There are tables galore, so much to go over to read, but my God, does it help you make fantastic characters.
Like you have a life. Like your character had a story, and like that fucking ruled. Like truly, that kicked ass.
Definitely pick this up. All right. So let's see. I'm gonna pour out. You're gonna hear a whole flood of clickety clacks because
love it.
I have to decide what dice the good Silas. Oh Jesus! No, it's everywhere. It's in my raccoon wounds. Okay, there we go. Oh nope. There was one still left. Nope, there's another. Okay, there we go. All the clickety clacks. All right. So, I'm sorry. I rolled them on top of a notebook so you couldn't really hear. So here's that good ASMR. There you go.
Oh, that's that nice noise. So give me a D6 roll. Give me a D6 roll for a weird thing that has happened to you.
All right. Let's see. What color am I going to use for Silas? I think, you know what? Because we're getting weird, let's use the clear purples. Oh,
that feels good.
Oh, wait. I have some metal dice. You know what? To hell with them. I'm going to use the clear purple. So a D6?
Yeah, give me 1D6.
6.
Okay, that rolls. That's these dice. The dice are working with us to tell a story here.
Oh my God, yes.
You're not sure what happened, just that it was beyond belief. You found yourself fighting side by side with a secret society within the West. Maybe it was with Harriet Tubman battling werewolves, or some other group battling sky demons. Whatever it was fight together or die separately. Yep. So you're going to take +1 worldly. Okay. You're going to take +5% to one of your conflict skills and +5 to scholar occult.
Okay, I don't know where worldly is. I think that's something later on that we have to do.
I think it might be.
+1 worldly. I'm going to write that down. All right, +1 worldly. To 1 conflict skill. Ooh. So I'm going to do... Ooh. You know what? Let's add that +5 to my melee. So that's going to be +5. So that's going to be 24. And... scholar, +5 to scholar for the occult. Okay.
And you gain standing membership in the society. We're gonna say, I'm just gonna declare it. I feel like I want this to, well, actually, hold on. Let me look up character's name because I know exactly who I want it to be, and I have to remember the character's name.
Billy the Kid. No.
It is a member of. So I think in part of your studies, I think what I'm gonna say, if I can spin a little bit of a story,
please spin away,
and invoke one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. I think that what you have found is, in your studies, in studying these demon texts, all of this demonology, at one point you were cornered by one of your siblings. Let me ask you, in part because this demon is not going to come up today. Which of your siblings is the demon of wrath?
Ooh.
Or even let's go with maybe envy. No, I think wrath is good. Let's go with wrath.
Okay, I will say. Let's see. There's 7 siblings. I'm gonna do a D8, and if it's an 8, it's a roll again. All right, so that's a. Oh my God. Oh, that's freaky. That's the one I chose to begin with. And then I rolled the dice and it chose
that's
Isaiah.
Magic.
So Isaiah is the demon
of wrath. And this is very specifically, so you were cornered, the demon of wrath inspires this ability, like hunter killers, right? Like people turn into the predator, these monsters that are trained to kill and destroy, and you were cornered. And because I rolled this dice for what happened in this, you were saved by members of the Quincy Morris Society, which is a small group of like-minded people who had been marked and targeted by forces arcane, and they had come together to look out for one another. So I think a lot of the texts that you had found, a lot of the resources that you had gained came from like a small group of people who had with a mutual interest in, we have had life and loved ones taken from us, and we are not going to let that happen to others. And it is very specifically a group founded in the American West. Its founder was a man who actually spent time across the pond in England. He was wrapped up in a supernatural horror scenario. He had to come back, and when he came back, he was marked by the knowledge that there are bloodthirsty things, and that ain't how we do things in Texas. So he made sure that there were people looking out for one another, and if it meant staking a goddamn Dracula through the heart, that he was gonna teach people to do exactly that.
So I have an idea to add to that. So I think when he went to that occult and oddity shop, that's ran by one of the members, and he went in so much and did so much research. They started to keep an eye on him, and that's how it came about. He was cornered, and they came in and saved him last minute.
I love that. And they were like, "Hey, come talk." Like I almost envision, like, because I love a good supernatural sinister thing that is also like very mundane. I love the idea that like the meetings of this society happen in the back of this oddity shop.
Yes.
But it's really just like a circle of chairs, and it's as much a support group as it is like a training society. It's like, hey, we've all like lost loved ones from this. Like we're doing this to make sure that like we have a grounding, in as much we're doing this so that we have a grounding with one another.
Well, yeah, the meetings start with everybody kind of, explain, like talking about if anything special happened in their life. It doesn't have to be like supernatural, but just the goings on, catching up. Then there's a little section of just kind of support therapy time, where everybody just kind of talks about what happened to them, or, stuff they're still dealing with, and they have that support time. Then it goes into, all right, let's see who we got to fuck up and where.
Yes, absolutely. So you have 2 points of peculiarities that you can spend on positive peculiarities, because you have two. You have a negative peculiarity of 2 points of debt, and I think that I'm going to spend that not as a monetary debt, but as a obligation to these people of mutual support, because I think that with what we have spun, I think that is more interesting than a physical debt.
Yes. Okay.
And I think that it is maybe it takes the form of an obligation of like, if you find someone that has been marked, you get like you connect them to the people that can help them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's beautiful. All right.
I think that's great. I love this a whole lot.
Let's go to peculiarities. I think that was the one time I said it correct, so that is the last time I'm going to say it. I'm going to end on a W.
You know what? Sometimes you got to end on a W. So as you look at that, feel free to just kind of flip through them. I'm gonna start us in on today's scenario. You are riding, like we open. We see you riding alone on horseback. You are a lone rider. You are riding through, the open prairie, the open plain. We see the dust at the back of your steed as you race along, and you come up a hill. And starting things off with a bang, you see, I think we see mirrored shots of you riding on a horse and of like a young man can't be older than 20, wearing what looks like pajamas is the best, and they are ragged and dirty and torn, and is just barreling down this prairie plain, right? And we are getting some of the Evil Dead Sam Raimi monster shots of like the thing behind this young man running.
Oh yeah.
And you come over a hill and you see this man barreling towards you. And what is your immediate reaction? You are about 100 yards away from this person, but like it's an open enough plain that you probably both see each other.
Okay. Can I see the creature?
I think
I will say something. My character has some abilities. Attuned, you can sense that which cannot be seen. I think there's something else I got here for that. So there's a lot here.
I think even that's enough. I think that you feel something even before you see this man running. You feel something.
Okay.
You rear back the horse and you kind of slow it to a trot, and you look around and you see this man, and you feel, you feel your horse get uneasy, and you feel this tingling on the back of your neck, and you see the ground shift, and then up from the ground is like not like it's a tremor, for lack of a better way to put it. It's it's one of those tremor worms from Tremors, like bursts from the ground and is like lashing and jumping in and out of the ground and trying to grab at this young man.
Okay, I have one very important question about this young man.
Yeah.
Is he of the Bacon clan?
He is of the Bacon clan. I think that this is a you know how there was that one Tremors movie that's in the Old West? Yeah. It's like not quite the same Kevin Bacon, but like it's clearly like an homage.
All right. So
I love the Tremors movie.
I have to save this wonderful, wonderful child then. So I think what I'm going to do is yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick my spurs into the horse to get it to go to dash towards this kid. And as soon as I get close enough, I'm going to just hold an arm out to like scoop him up onto the horse. Mm-hmm. Do I have to roll anything for that, or?
What are you doing next? I don't think I think let me hear the rest of rest of your plan, then we'll figure out where the roll is.
So then what I'm going to do after that is, as I scoop him up on the horse, I'm going to slide off the horse, and the horse is going to keep going the direction the kid was running. So then I'm going to just kind of stomp on the ground a little bit just to get its attention. Mm-hmm. To, because it doesn't want to keep chasing this, these footprints that are moving extremely fast. Why not go after the easier meal? So as soon as I start to feel that tremor coming, I'm just going to wait to that last possible second, and I'm going to jump to the side. And as soon as I hear the ground disturbing and I hear something explode out, I'm just going to grab, like I already have my hand on my machete, and I'm just going to like do that sidestep slash without looking, and then just wait for it to, for it to hit, because it's going to take one hell of a blessed slash to its whatever the hell comes out first.
I like that. I like that a lot. So yeah, let's talk through how actions work in Haunted West. So you are going to make a skill roll. I'm going to have you make a physique melee roll for your machete.
So
and the way this works is you are going to roll a D100. You have a % number on your melee skill. You want to roll under that skill.
Gotcha.
The further under that skill you roll, the better you get. If you roll doubles under that skill, you will generate aces, which escalate things to a certain direction. For every 10% under that roll, you generate a jack. Jacks are added successes and things you can add to the scene.
All right. So let's... Ooh, actually, I'm going to switch to these brown dice because they're calling to me.
See, here's what I appreciate. I appreciate that you are also a dice aesthetic. You are also bound to the dice aesthetic as somebody that, like, I have to pull things. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I got you. All right. So with that, then, you said a physique melee roll. So that is going to be... Okay, physique melee. So, that is not going to be good, I think. So that's a 24. So I have to roll under a 24.
I'm going to roll under a 24.
Okay.
Now, you have grit, which I want to talk about grit, which is a pool of stats that you have. You can temporarily spend some grit to add 10% to your skill level before the call is made. So before you roll, you can spend a certain amount of grit to increase that number if you like.
No, we're not gonna do that right off the bat. We're gonna because I have some plans for that there grit. So let me double check, make sure I don't have anything I can add to this. Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah. All right. So let's get swifty then. All right. So we're gonna roll. Got to get under a 20. What did I say? 25.
25 or 24.
24. That's fine. That's fine. That's easy. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. All right. Come on. So some bad stuff happens.
All right.
Some really bad stuff happens.
Good. This is good. This is going to allow me to introduce some stuff here that I think is going to be fun and interesting.
Yeah. So not only did I fail and I got higher than the 24, but I got high and I got a double.
Okay, and that means that okay, good. I know exactly what happens.
Does it matter what? Because I know like 90. No,
90
is like an extreme, like a critical failure, right?
90 is the worst thing you can get. Okay, 90 or 11. Even 11 is the only case where you roll under your skill and a bad thing happens. But if you roll, other than that, it doesn't matter. If you roll double over your skill, then a bad thing happens with a twist.
Well, we get ready to twist because I rolled a 66.
Okay. Then I am going to let me pull.
You instantly explode. All right. Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right. I'm going to roll me a D6. I think like it tackles you and starts to tear into you. You are going to take out of your vitality 5 damage. This thing is fierce. And the thing that you notice, the thing that is immediately apparent, there are 2 things that are immediately apparent. One, as it is biting you and thrashing, you notice that, like, it's cold. You notice that it is not a warm-blooded thing, but also, like, as you are holding it, your hands are getting muddy and caked in mud, and you realize this thing is literally spun from the ground. You are fighting, like, this thing is born of the earth.
Oh, so this isn't a creature that just travels. This is an elemental.
It's an elemental of some sort. And the thing that you notice, the other thing you notice, there's piano music in the air. A jaunty tune is like playing as this thing is thrashing and biting at you. But like, it is like on the wind. Like you hear it on the wind. As soon as it started to attack you, you started to hear this tune on the wind. There is piano music playing, and it is jaunty. It is very specifically like a player piano or an organ is playing on the wind as this thing is thrashing at you. What are you doing?
So I know that this has to be the work of the demon Billy Joel, because
that is correct.
He is the only one that operates that
Billy,
controls the piano man.
Billy the Kid is here. Came from Long Island with a 6-string in his hand. Sure.
So elemental tremors attacking me. I hear piano music on the wind. I think, since this thing is right here on me, you were going to say something?
I think actually I know what the twist is.
Yes.
You have this happen. I think you're holding this. What do you do? What do you do immediately? Because I think something happens immediately when you try to interact with this thing again.
So I have the machete in my hand, so I'm just gonna plunge it into it.
It plunges, it digs into the dirt, and the thing pops like a water balloon of dirt.
Ugh.
Like a dirt clod that you have crushed in your hand, and you are just covered in dirt and sand.
And it's just dry?
Left just dry dirt and sand, just like almost like half buries you. Like imagine like a 20-pound dirt clod just exploded in your hands, and you are just covered in filth. You stand up, you dust yourself off, and your horse comes back. The twist is that your horse comes back, and the person on it, the young man on it, is gone.
Shit.
And it's not that, like, it doesn't look like they left like the horse, because in part, like, the horse is still running, right? Like, the horse has run back to you, and, like, you kind of have to call it and calm it down. It just is that the horse ran by, and that the boy on it disappeared.
Okay, and I don't see any kind of, like, blood or anything on the horse.
No, it's as if it just vanished. It's as if they just vanished into the ether.
Okay. Man, I want to try and shoot. I think my first... Oh, man. I think the first thing I want to do... I want to find out... I want to find the piano man. Because I believe that may have... that may at least lead me towards the young man, or give me some kind of insight as to what happened to him.
You hop back on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
You see, like, smoke off in the horizon. Not smoke like a fire. You see smoke like you see chimney smoke and like building smoke off over the horizon. Like, clearly, this young man ran from a town, ran from a city, a place, and you can see the smoke from the chimneys of that small little town just over the horizon.
Okay, so then, I'm gonna, and just start heading towards that smoke. Figure out, if I can talk to somebody, get some info, see what I can do. So yeah, I'm just gonna start heading there, like a bat out of hell. Oh, I did want to say that I chose my, a new skill with those 2 points, and it was somewhere on the thing. Yeah, so I got sharp wits. So sharp wits, your mind runs faster than the Central Pacific Railroad. It processes the details, enabling you to piece clues together faster than others. I get a bonus jack on successful deduction and logic calls.
All right. So you pull over the horizon. We see the outline of you on the horse as you come up on the horizon, and you come down upon the city of Amigara Ridge. Amigara Ridge is a small mining community. It was built as like a it was very much built as like a what's the word I'm looking for? No, like a kind of a pit stop town for cowboys and people traveling through, wagons headed west. Like, this was clearly like a trading post. That's the word I'm looking for. Like a trading post community.
Okay.
So you can kind of see the general stores. You see the kind of the main road. It's very kind of iconic Old West community. And the thing that you notice is it is like 2 p.m. It's like early afternoon. And you notice the saloon. And when I say saloon, I mean, it is impossible not to notice it, because they have, electric lights are present, have been invented, but are not like widespread.
Yeah, not mainstream.
So seeing neon lights and lights strung up and a place that is flashing lights this bright, I mean, this saloon is electric.
Okay.
And it is beaming. And you notice that, like, it is 3 p.m., but people are coming out of their houses. They are wearing their finest silk suits. They are carrying their canes. They are walking inside. This is clearly the place to be. This nightclub is hopping, but it is 2 p.m. And you notice, like, a lot of the shops are shut down. A lot of you as you kind of ride your horse through the main street, you notice, like, shop windows are boarded up, and, like, a lot of places are closed. And give me a I want to say give me a roll for this, but I don't know what.
So it's not a they closed for the day. They have been, like, closed permanently, gone out of business.
Yes, give me this is going to be an investigation roll, which is a particular kind of roll in Haunted West where I'm going to give you a key piece of information.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to have you roll for some extra stuff. I think I want you to roll
deduction.
I think this will be a deduction. I think that feels right.
All right,
that feels like the nice, like, investigation roll
for that. So, okay. So for expertise, I wanted to ask you about this.
Yeah,
I have 4 expertises. Expertise? What is the plural of expertise?
I think it's just expertise.
Okay, I have 4 expertise. The first one, you know what threats a local community faces, both mundane and, if known and named, weird.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, you can tell if someone else has had a traumatic experience with the weird after spending an hour or so in their company.
Okay.
The third one, you can spot someone who will fight back when threatened, even if they don't think of themselves that way. And the last one, you can always spot a way out of a dangerous situation, even if it is ridiculously dangerous and likely to fail.
I love this game. I love that these are just things that you have. Okay. So, yeah, you are strolling. So then I'm not even going to make you roll because, like, you are able to recognize the threat to a community. Businesses have been closed, and it doesn't necessarily look like they're closed due to, like, a lack of interest. Like, this is a small enough community where if you open a shop, you're doing so because there's a need for that shop, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those places where if I open a vegetable stand, it's because I'm growing vegetables and I'm selling them to the people in the community that need vegetables.
Yeah.
So if I'm closing the vegetable stand, like, there's a reason for that. And you notice, the other thing you notice is, like, there is damage to some of these buildings. Like, something has struck these buildings. You notice that, like, some of these closed buildings were closed because of damage to the building, or you can presume because the people that were running them are no longer with us.
Yeah.
Like, you notice that is true of a decent amount of the community. Is like, this is what you would describe as a weathered community. Like, the buildings are roughed up. It is a neighborhood, a town that has seen disaster. Something has been striking this town. Saloon, though, I mean, that looks pristine.
That looks just beautiful. Okay. So, I mean, obviously, after trotting through the town a bit, I think I'm going to head straight to the saloon. I mean, got to go where the people are if I want answers.
You walk in the main bar area of the saloon. There is a main bar there, saloon, and there's a red curtain with a theater. Like, you can hear a theater show behind it. You hear a player piano jangling on the air back behind that curtain.
And would this wonderful, whimsical music sound familiar to me?
You swear you heard it just about an hour ago on the wind. But then it was gone as you walked through the town. You didn't hear a thing. The second you walk inside, you hear the faintest notes of it just beyond that curtain. The bartender, like, waves you over with a big smile. Older gentleman, big bushy mustache. Kind of gives you a wave over. Asks if you'd like a drink.
Nod, and I think he looks to see, like, what's available. And you know what? Just give me something strong.
Gives you something strong, but he gives you something that is unusual, especially like for this, that is unusual at least like at this time, which is like a
Jaeger bomb,
like a fruited cocktail.
Oh, okay.
Like a lot of what we think of as like modern cocktails weren't really like, they like outside of like traditional beverages, like what we think of as like modern cocktails were results of prohibition. It's because they had limited ingredients and they were trying to mask the alcohol they were dealing with. So like giving you like a Bahama Breeze or something is unusual.
What the hell is this? I asked for something strong, not juice for a kid.
Oh, believe me, Pilgrim, that'll knock you on your ass faster than the toughest person at the poker table. But we tend to do it up with a little style here. You know, we've been kind of reinventing ourselves as a theater community ever since that lovely salesman came by and set this up for us. I feel like this is, this is the talk of the town. It's been running 24/7 for weeks, and I tell you, there ain't a single thing like it this side of the Mississippi.
Can you tell me a little bit more about this salesman?
I think give me a convince roll.
Ooh, I'm sure that's going to be a super high one.
Give me a convince call.
Convince.
This is an investigate roll, so I'm going to give you the information that you want, but this is to see what else you can get.
Okay, so that's a pretty. Man, I should have done better with these rolls, with these points, because he is not high in anything but like 3 things. Okay, so so convince, so we're looking for under a 35. God. Oh, 28, baby.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I know exactly what's about to happen. He starts telling you the story. Well, we came into a little bit of money. You know, we were a trade and post community, and then they started constructing the railroad. We had a lot of railroad workers come in and settle. That was really when Amigara Ridge came to life. We were so grateful for the people coming to join our community. And with that came a little bit of money. We ended up with a little bit of money for the town, and then this lovely fellow came by, and he offered us something pretty special. He offered us a 24/7 cabaret show. It's all, I don't know, he called it anima talactics or animatractics. I don't remember the exact word he used, but it was some kind of, they're fancy, they're machines. It's like you're watching a player piano, but it's a whole cabaret show. Anyway, they've been running 24/7. People have been coming 2 p.m. dressed up like it's Friday night on the Ritz. This town has never been the same. We have been so grateful. In fact, I think there's a show about to start if you'd like to come visit. And he's like, tickets only $2 if you're interested.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, no, I'll definitely. And he's gonna root around in his pockets and grab the last $3 on him.
And I think as you reach for that money, he pulls out a golden ticket, and we get a close up on the ticket. We get a close up on your hand. And then there is a scream outside.
Yeah, he's going to just turn and run towards the door.
I think that you look, and you take the briefest look back behind you. And the bartender, and the screams are still happening outside. The bartender is like holding the ticket. The only concern in the bartender's eyes is that you are not taking a ticket to this show. And there is no way that they're not hearing that outside.
Yeah, so they look concerned, but not because of what's going on out there. It's the fact that I stopped purchasing this ticket and walked away.
And it's not necessarily like an obsessive care. It's just a like, oh, you don't want to go see the show? It's about to start. You're going to, and then like you kind of see them. The last thing that you kind of see them is they just kind of shrug and put the ticket away and then just kind of go back to cleaning a glass. You make your way outside. You see another young woman. This woman, this is a young native woman. She's she is cornered, and there is a hulking man in black and white striped prison garb, noose around his neck, rope cut, holding an axe, is looming over her and is dragging the axe behind him as he walks towards this woman, and she is looking. You can see in her eye the same thing that you saw in the eye of that young man, that young man that you saw so briefly, and that is, you said that you can tell someone that will fight if they are given the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that would fight, but that are put in position, that are in a position where they don't have the opportunity. And you can tell this because this woman is wearing, like, she's wearing an apron, and it tells you that she was, like, in the middle of cooking something and that, like, you know, is outmatched in this fight.
Yeah.
Same way that young man was wearing pajamas and was, like, ambushed out of bed. You can tell that, like, these horrors, whatever they are people are just getting ambushed at their most vulnerable moments, and you see this hulking thing walking towards this woman. What do you do?
Putting on, because I was listening to Western saloon piano music the whole time, getting jazzed for the scene. So yeah, I think what he's gonna do, he sees this criminal just like walking menacingly towards this woman who is screaming. He's gonna do what any good cowpoke's gonna do, and he's just gonna he's gonna dash towards them, pull out his pistol, and drop a couple rounds into this dude. He's gonna aim for the legs, just in case.
Aim for the legs.
Yeah, he's gonna try and first, actually, he's gonna fire 2 shots. One towards the hand both shots are gonna go towards the hand to drop that axe, because that is a big priority to stop.
Okay.
So yeah, he's gonna shoot towards that.
Give me that skill call.
All right. That's gonna be short arms, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now we're looking at some good numbers here, baby. So we got 60 for that. All right. Come on, dice. Come on. Oh. Well, it's something 8. I gotta roll the 10s again. Are you fucking? I'm throwing these dice away.
See, this is actually perfect. I know. What did you roll?
I'll give you a hint. I'll just tell you it was a double.
Great. Okay. Sure enough. Okay. You shoot the thing. Dirt falls out of it, like dirt and like wood chunks out of the hand. Still holding the axe, but like dirt and rot.
Oh.
This is another construct. This is another thing. But the thing is, it's not stopping. You haven't dealt it damage in part because, like, I think what it is you hit it, but like it doesn't do anything because it doesn't feel anything there. It's not. There's no reaction. And the other thing that you see is oh yeah, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen. There is a commotion when you start shooting, and people start coming out. People start popping their heads out, and there is a commotion. Not a single person comes to help you. In fact, somebody pops. I'm gonna escalate the situation. Somebody pops out of the saloon with a rifle, points it at you because they're like, "We're trying to watch a show in here.
Okay.
Keep it down."
Now, I did have one question about when I shot this guy.
Yeah.
It would be the same as when I stabbed that creature with the blade, because both my pistol and my machete are blessed. So does it have any difference? Like, does it affect it any differently?
You know what? Then I'm actually going to escalate that. I'm gonna say not in this case, because these aren't things that, like, these are such soulless constructs that, like, it doesn't actually impact it at all.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that, like, and I think that is something that you notice, right? Like, you have blessed weapons. Something has constructed and has conjured these things, but they are not itself, like, bound by magic. They are bound by something else's power. In fact, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
When's the first time you saw one of your brother Ode's constructs?
Oh, I think, yeah. So it was after, he figured out everybody was a demon now. He was on the run for a bit. This was before he started coming after them. He finally, he found the oddity shop, and there was a guy that was, would come in every once in a while and check out some stuff, and they started talking and they became good friends. They, shared a love for all things, oddities and, occult stuff. So they became fast friends. And, after a while, a couple months, he started to tell him, more about his past and what was going on. And, this guy tried to help him. He was like, "Oh, I'm interested. I want to help you if I can." And so he was like, "All right, I'm going to try and do this spell to see if I can banish one of them. I don't know exactly who's close by, but I can feel someone. So I'm going to see if I can locate them and I can banish them." And he was completely on board to help. And then the night that he goes to do it, as he finds Ode and he starts doing the ritual, and Ode's trapped and starting to get banished. And all of a sudden he just starts laughing. And as he starts laughing, that Silas is confused and all of a sudden is racked with pain because in his side is now a knife. And he looks at the wielder of said blade, and it's the friend he made. And the friend just smiles, looks at Ode, looks back to Silas, and just dissolves into dirt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so we flash back. There is somebody holding a gun to you. There is this thing, this construct is lurching towards you. It's lurching towards this woman, is lurching towards you. What do you do?
I think... Ooh. Oh my God. Okay, so I think what he's going to do is... Now this person... is it somebody, is who's holding this pistol? I mean, this rifle.
It looks like it's just it doesn't look like it's like a sheriff or anything like that. The best way to say it is it looks like it's like the bouncer, like the security guard. The security guard of the bar is holding the rifle as a way of being like, "Hey, don't fire guns outside of the bar. This is a nice, peaceful establishment."
So he's gonna put his hands up and go, "Oh, much. I sincerely apologize. I just went off." And he's gonna put the gun up and he's gonna kind of wave to him, "Enjoy your show." And he's gonna walk towards the woman and wait for the now that he knows the golem to get closer. And he's gonna keep his eyes on the bouncer to see what happens.
I think the bouncer, as sees you walk away, the thing is still lurching towards you. The sand creature is still lurching towards you. Bouncer just as if he can see it, but just cannot process that this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Stashes the rifle, gives you a tip of the cap. Thank you for respecting the show. We appreciate it. Have a great time the rest of the town. Listen, if you come back inside, we'll get you a drink on us. I don't want to be a bother.
Appreciate it. Much obliged.
Walks back inside without a care.
Yep, that's what he wanted. And as soon as this, he's gonna kind of put himself between the woman and the sand creature and face her and just say, "Just don't scream. Trust me. Step back."
And she, without I think the minute you say that, she steels herself and then steps back.
And he's going to, as she steps back, he has another knife. It's not, as big as the machete, but it is a little blessed blade. He's going to hand it in its little scabbard or its sheath and hand it to her as he turns away from her and then puts his hand on his hip to grab his machete.
She looks at the machete. "Can I not have that one?"
"No, you want to fight him?"
"Enjoy."
All right. And so he's gonna look back as he says that, let a little smirk on his face, and then turn back. And as soon as it gets close, he's gonna whip it out and try and do what he did to the trimmer and just like right in the gut. But this time, instead of just because he was pinned down by the trimmer. So now that he has freedom of movement, he's going to try and like stab into the stomach while sidestepping to try and pull it around and like cut half of it, kind of cut half of the midsection.
That's great. I think that give me a melee roll, but I think take +10 for this because you know what you're fighting up against.
Okay, so
and if you want to spend grit, you can spend grit to up that number as well.
No, yeah, it's fine. Let's I have been failing by such massive margins that grit does not matter at this point.
Fair? No, that is fair.
So all right, here we go. Oh, fuck you. All right, so yeah, no, I fail, but no double. So
what'd you roll?
It was okay. So the new goal was 34, and I rolled a 57.
Okay, I think I'm gonna have you take a hit. I think, or I'm gonna have it roll to hit you. Is what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Let me see its numbers. Yeah, it is going to give you 4 more damage to your vitality as it like buries its axe in your chest.
So it didn't drop the axe?
It dropped the axe. Yeah, so it's just gonna like punch you, like bash you in the face, send you to the ground, and like climb on top of you and start choking you.
I am battered.
For 4 damage.
All right.
And I think I'm gonna have. Let's see what happens real quick. But I think in that moment, buried in the side of its head is that tiny little knife, and its head sort of collapses more into dirt and falls over. And the woman is standing over you and goes, actually the smaller knife was nice. I liked it. I was able to swing with it.
Yeah, well, I did soften him up and distract him for you. So
I'm not taking that away from you. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Oh, 1 second.
And he's just gonna like crack his neck some because it's in a lot of pain, and he's trying to play it up. So he's gonna like do that, get up, dust himself off.
All right, that takes care of that. I'm sorry. The name's Silas.
Winona.
Okay, nice to meet you. Would you like to go see a show, Winona?
You're joking, right?
No. I believe we have a show we need to attend.
I don't step foot into that theater.
Why not?
And she starts to gesture around a little bit. Because once you go in, you lose sight of everything else. You lose sight of... I'm sure you've noticed that stuff around town we're not exactly at our best. I'm sure you've noticed some damage and some
a little bit
losses.
Here and there, yeah.
Once you go into that theater, once you start watching that show, you lose the ability to see all of that, to see the people suffering around you. I can't explain it, but you stop doing anything. You see people suffering and you don't do anything. You sit there.
And so I'm assuming the reason that you're being accosted and that young man from earlier is because you two didn't go see the show and have avoided it until now.
You'd think that. You would think that it would be that simple. But plenty of people have gone to the show and then gotten swallowed up by a sand demon or torn apart by vampire bats, or somebody got, lashed to death by vines that came to life. Like, shit is happening to everybody, but nobody seems to be able to see anybody else but themselves. You just get wrapped up in your good time and you stop doing anything. Yet you get taken by apathy and by...
Well, how about you do me a favor?
And he's going to pick up the knife, hand it back to her.
Why don't you find somewhere safe, and I'm gonna go see a show. If you'd like to join me, I could use the help, but if not, I understand.
And I think that, like, her shoulders kind of slump a little bit. If you can promise that when I walk out of there, I won't stop giving a shit about these people in this town.
I promise when you walk out, you're definitely going to have a new look on life. Not in a bad way, though.
I mean, I guess I owe you one for softening up that thing out there.
All right. And he's going to offer his arm.
I guess we're going to see a show.
All right. And he's going to
walk inside.
Yep.
You buy a ticket. Winona buys a ticket. You sit down. The curtains open. The show kicks off, and it is, you are overwhelmed with light and sound.
I was going to say the moment that, like, it starts to kick up, he's going to pull out some cloth and blindfold Winona.
Oh, that's good shit. Yep, I think that she sees that, gives you, like, an immediate nod and a smile, like, you son of a... All right. You put the blindfold on. You are overwhelmed with light and sound.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, the peak of the show, everyone is clapping and laughing and shouting and singing, and that piano music is playing, and you swear you heard that same piano music when that axe-wielding, executed convict was standing over you, and you hear it now loud and clear, and in the peak of it, as the lights flash, you only see things for a flicker, but you swear you see a silhouette that is familiar standing in the back for just a moment.
Now, is it there and then not there, or is it there and now obscured? That area is obscured now.
There, it's you see like it's like they're a robot, and they are robots, right? They are full on clockwork automata doing these like can dances, playing a piano, and you see like for a moment a silhouette, and then it is obscured by some dancers, but there is definitely someone standing backstage.
All right, I want to try and sneak backstage while this is going on. Kind of stick to like the the sides and, slowly make my way there. Trying to stay in whatever shadow is, for however brief it is in that area. Cause I know with all these lights flashing everywhere, it's gotta, nothing's dark for too long.
Yeah.
So he's going to try and just jackknife from shadow to shadow.
Make me a roll. This is going to be a stealth roll. I'm going to give you plus 10% because the lights are flashing and you've got some room to move around. And then tell me what you're rolling.
All right, it's going to be a 33 because sweet God, I did not put any points into anything important.
Take another 10. Put it up to 43 as well, because yes. I think that like the people are so entranced by the show that I think like you can move around a little bit more comfortably.
I appreciate the pity points.
Occasionally you got to throw some pity points and then you got to justify it. But like
holy shit!
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 42.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, thank God.
You make your way backstage, and there, standing, eating an apple, you recognize him for his pork pie hat, and his red silk jacket, and his khaki pants, and his dress shirt, all perfectly pressed, big smile on his face as he's eating an apple, looking out on those faces, laughing, kind of tapping his feet. He's got his cane, and he's kind of tapping along with it. It is your brother O'Day. Is standing laughing, kind of locks eyes on you, never not smiling. You like it, right?
You know how this is gonna go.
I mean, you got to admit this one. You got to admit this is some of my best work to date.
It's a very nice little show you got going on. Too bad it's got to end.
And I think he throws up the cane, almost into a fighting position, but like also kind of in a position of like my hands are raised, and he kind of like starts to walk towards you. He kind of walks towards you, throws his cane into his other hand, and he throws an arm around you and turns you back to watch the crowd. I want you to look at these people, brother. I want you to look out at their faces. You know what I see when I look out there?
What?
Beautiful, wonderful, immaculate, true biblical sloth. The real kind. Not the kind that they tell you because you ate too much cake. Not the kind they tell you when you had one too many. I mean, the kind of sloth that is, it's supple and it's succulent. It is eyes away from injustice. It is to see someone suffering and do nothing, and every single one of these people opted into this. It's a work of art. It's my finest work. I have made something. Gives me chills. Chills! Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Are you starting to feel what all of us in the family feel right now, Silas? Because when I look out at these faces and I see people watching their best friends, family members, lovers get swallowed up by demons and hacked to death by axe-wielding zombies, and they don't lift a goddamn finger, well, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I feel like I could walk out there and sing myself. Hell, I just might jump in for a number right at the end. And I hope that when you look out, you see the same depravity and lack of humanity in all of those faces that I see when I saw that man raise a gun at you because you were disrupting his show. Silas, that is art to me.
You have always been quite the artist, haven't you?
Man's gotta have passions.
I mean, I do feel it. I do feel it. Unfortunately, I feel...
And the gun's gonna go off.
Yep, I think that, I'm not even gonna ask you to roll. I think it goes off. He collapses. And sure enough, immediately the dancers and the piano players start to crumble into dirt. Everything around starts to collapse a little bit. And the people, they don't react right away. And when they do, they don't react like we've been shaken out of a spell. They don't react like we have been brought back to reality. They react like, oh, I guess the show is over. And they kind of look around confused as the dancers start to sputter and spit dirt out and collapse into sand heaps. And the room looks shoddy. And your brother shot by a blessed bullet. You see his blood pooling into a rune in front of him. That same rune that you saw years ago.
And I would like to do one thing as I see that.
Yep.
So I was like,
I definitely feel it, but I feel something else.
And the gun goes off and he drops to the ground. And he's going to say,
1 down, 6 to go.
And he's going to pull out the machete and behead him.
Unless
the body does something.
The crowd claps. The crowd is like, oh, well, that was an unexpected twist in the show. All right. Winona takes off her blindfold, looks around, sees you, sees the headless body of O'Day. Blood. I think the headless body, the blood is spewing from the head, and it is forming. The rune that is associated with your brother is associated with Sloth forming on the ground. She sees that, sees you, gives you a solemn nod, kind of steps up, walks up. So it's done?
He's going to take the machete and he's going to just drag it across the symbol, the blood. And I would like to sense, because that seemed extremely too easy to kill my brother. I want to see if I can still sense him.
I think what you do is you run your machete along, and you see the smear of what should have been blood, but is actually dirt and sand. And you look at your brother's body, and it too is starting to crumble into sand. It seems like he may have been one step ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
But, the enthusiasm of the crowd is starting to die down at the same time. The joy, the crowd is starting to kind of regain their senses a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you do start to hear murmurs of, my God, my brother died. brother died and I watched it happen.
Mm.
And, like, you can kind of see the faces start to twist in the crowd, even through, like, the dim lights of the theater stage. It doesn't seem like you found your brother just yet. It doesn't seem like you have rid this world of your brother yet, but it seems like at least you have stopped an instance of his magic from bleeding into the world and the hearts of the people.
So he's going to see that body crumble in the dust, look out at everyone, look back at Winona, and,
well, that was one hell of a show. Don't think you're going to get an encore.
And I think she stands with that knife and is like, so what now? What do I do now? Like, what?
I don't know what you're going to do. All I did was promise that I'd stop the show, and I did. Now, I'm going to go look for the young man that was snatched earlier, and more than likely, my brother.
And I think, like, she kind of, like, as you start to walk away, grabs your arm, and I think that the shot that we see, our closing shot is there are two horses riding. You and Winona are riding side by side. You come up on a cave. There is a spider creature lurching on this young man. A knife flies forward, digs into its head. It collapses. The young man bursts forth. Looks, didn't you save me once already?
Now you keep getting into trouble.
And I think that, like, hops on, the three of you ride, and if I can propose one final closing shot.
Oh, yeah.
We see the back room of an oddity shop. A circle of chairs, a group of people sitting around, and we see Silas, and we see Winona, and we see Jebediah is his name. Jebediah Bacon is his name. And we see all three of you are sitting in these chairs as the person's like, well, I guess we'll begin. Does anyone have, I see we have some new members. Does anyone want to introduce themselves and tell their story?
I think at that, he's going to kind of sigh and do that thing like he leans forward and sighs and then stands up.
Well, my name's Silas Whitfield, and I'm hunting my family.
And that is game.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
What?
hell yeah.
No, you know what? I think we just need to block out the next 12 hours and knock out a couple of these siblings because I don't want to stop playing.
God damn, that was so good. Oh my God, I'm screaming. That was fantastic. I loved every second of that. That kicked ass.
My God, the dice. They were just like, hey, we're going to show all the bad things that can happen in this game.
That they were. That was fun. I loved that. A thing that I loved about the game that I want to shout out, because we kind of like shifted a little bit between modes of play, and I really love that the game does this. There are multiple like modes of play in Haunted West. And I genuinely love this because like it accounts for a lot of like it provides guidance for a lot of different ways of play. Like if you like a lot of rules and crunchy things and like digging into rules and things, like the Dead Man's Hand rules do that really nicely.
Yeah.
By the end of it, like we had kind of shifted into the quick draw rules, which are far more just like you name the thing that happens and kind of work through it.
Yeah.
I love that it includes, there's also a minis war game in here that is sick. There's a PBTA version of this that's also included in the book. This game is sick. I love, and truly the thing I want to shout out is like, there is so much guidance in the book. There's so much about like Reconstruction era history and you know the way that like weird West stories interact with like the real history of the West and how that connects to like the stories of like marginalized people in the West. Like there's so much cool shit in this book. And also they're just like, and also here's the stats for aliens if you want to throw in some aliens. Like this is an amazingly written book that just like does so much cool shit in it that like it's a real work of art.
It is 100%. Like, my God, I was reading through it like, okay, how do I make a character? And I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna go through quite a bit of material before you get to that. But my God, there are stories in there that are just fantastic.
It's amazing. It's so cool. And like, it breaks down real world history and alternate histories, and like, it's an amazing book. I mean, honestly, like if this setting and theme is a thing that you're interested in, like, get this book only because like it is like fascinatingly researched and put together. It is a tome that I am so appreciative that it exists.
Yeah. And for anyone out there that's like, oh man, that's a lot of backstory and stuff that he has going on. I started this character not knowing anything about them. Like, I didn't know his name. I was like, let's figure some stuff out. I saw everything, started going through the tables, started rolling. I think I rolled, I started in like his past, and I started rolling some things, and I was like, okay, well, there's two things that could have happened. Either, he's fighting. I was like, why does his family hate him? Maybe because, he was bad and turned good or something like that. And then I rolled another thing and it was like attacked, and it just clicked. And I was like, oh, his family's trying to kill him.
That's sick. I mean, yes. You know this from AMFC, but I am a sucker for like discovering things in play. And like, I love the character creation stuff in this. I love the tables that you roll on and things. Like, this game kicks ass. Like, I love this fucking thing.
Love it so much.
Well, my friend, thank you so much for playing this with me. I had the absolute best time.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing. And we got to find out. I thought I killed one, but no, we still got 7 siblings to take down. So, you know?
So yeah, we'll be back to this. I think that's I'd say save your notes because we'll be back to this.
Hell yeah.
So real quick before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
Yes, you can find me online at on Twitch at big_Beaz, Beaz, and anywhere else on the internet at biggest_Beaz, Beaz. Feel free to add me on Twitter. I love liking and retweeting everything that comes across my my screen or my feed from awesome people. Ask anybody that knows me. I like and retweet like there's no tomorrow. And
it's one of the things I appreciate about you.
And I love that's the number one spot where I'm going to be promoting the podcast I'm working on and a bunch of other projects in the works. And that's where you can find me.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you again for doing the show. This was incredible. I had the best time. And so for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take a future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Beaz for coming on the show. That game was... I mean, we're going to be revisiting this world and these stories. Like, that is a guarantee that I am making here on Mike because, like, the story was so cool and big and weird and horrific. And, like, just everything about it was, like, what I want from a good horror story, a good monster hunting story. It just was such a good... God, I had so much fun with it. Anyway, be sure to head to darkerhuestudios.com to pick up your own copy of Haunted West, and be sure to follow Beaz on Twitch at big_Beaz and everywhere else on social media at biggest_Beaz. Then while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Party of One Podcast, find us on TikTok at Party of One Podcast, find us on Tumblr at Party of One Pod, subscribe to our newsletter at buttondown.email/Party of One Podcast, and join our Discord community at bit.ly/Party of One Discord. If you enjoy the show, there's a lot of ways to support it. You can support us financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer or Ko-fi.com/JeffStormer. You can give us a nice iTunes review, shout us out to a friend, give us some love on social media. You can buy some Party of One merch at bit.ly/Party of One merch. Or if you're looking for more great podcast content, you can check out All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world building podcast that I make with my best friend in the world, Aaron Catano Saez. We take a listener submitted prompt and spin it into an original fantasy character, populating a shared universe one story at a time. You can also check out Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which is an actual play about a heartless witch, a cozy house, and the many people making their homes inside. Both of those you can find wherever you get your podcasts. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming on the show as a guest, or about press coverage of the show, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And unless I am mistaken, that is all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.